My hands still shake when I think about it. How calmly she said it, without a flicker of grief. Unplug the machine. I need the money for a new sink. Her son was still breathing, because of the device I was managing. And she stood there, draped in designer fabric with $100 manicure, calculating how much his death would net her. I've seen mothers collapse to the floor, screaming. I've seen fathers punch walls trying to bargain with God. But her? She was flipping through a catalog of kitchen fixtures while her son's brain was dying. That's when I realized this wasn't grief. This was demolition. And this time, what was draining wasn't blood. It was trust. Trust that will never flow again. The real leak hadn't started yet, but it was coming. I remember the sound of the machines more than anything else. The beeping, the gentle hiss of the ventilator, the rhythmic compression of the IV pump. I memorized their music because I was afraid of what silence meant. My name's Marcus, 35 male. I'm an ICU nurse, been doing it for nearly a decade. I've seen families crumble, cry, pray, scream. I've seen miracles. I've seen hopelessness bloom into peace. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for Jenna. Jenna, 42 female, walked into my unit with stilettos, a Burberry bag, and zero hesitation. Her son, Tyler, 19 male, had just been declared brain dead after a skateboarding accident. Blunt force trauma, no helmet. Slipped off a parking ramp trying to do a trick he'd pulled off 100 times before. This time, the pavement didn't care. The call came in while I was mid-shift. Trauma admission. Young male, unresponsive, GCS of 3. I was the one who received him in the ICU, set up the lines, adjusted the drips, made sure the room felt like care even if the body inside it was beyond saving. Jenna showed up 6 hours later. Not a single tear. No frantic questions. No whispered, "I love yous" over his still hand. Just, how long until he can be taken off that thing? We'd heard of moms in shock, parents in denial, but this was calculated, cold. I gently explained that her son was currently being assessed for organ donation. That even if brain death was confirmed, we typically wait for the donor team and allow time for loved ones to say goodbye. She stared at the machines like they were offensive. No, I mean, if he's dead, right? Why are we wasting electricity? I've got stuff I need to take care of. The way she said it, so casual, like she was discussing rescheduling a manicure. I blinked. He's still your son. Her eyes narrowed, like I'd insulted her. Don't get emotional with me. I'm just saying, I have renovations lined up. That insurance payout's not going to stretch far with all this hospital billing. You people charge $300 for Tylenol. I need to get ahead of this. That's when it clicked. She wasn't mourning. She was budgeting. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My fingers curled around the vital sheet I'd been holding, knuckles white. She leaned in, lowered her voice like we were co-conspirators. So listen, is there like a way to move this along? Pull the plug tonight, maybe? I could really use the room remodel before the kitchen install next week. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just walked out, because if I stayed 1 second longer, I was afraid I'd say something that would cost me my license. Later, I told the attending. He just sighed and muttered, "We've had worse." But I hadn't. I hadn't seen worse. Not like this. Because the next day, she brought a contractor to the hospital. And that's when the real drain began. Not of fluids or blood, but of every last drop of respect I had left for this woman. And trust me, the faucet was just opening. The contractor's name was Mitch. He showed up in a stained hoodie, holding blueprints, and looked around Tyler's ICU room like he was inspecting drywall. Jenna strutted behind him, snapping her fingers like she was leading a tour of a fixer-upper on HGTV. I stood in the hallway, frozen, watching this circus unfold. Tyler, who hadn't even been declared legally dead yet, lay motionless, surrounded by machines keeping his organs viable for donation. And his mother was comparing backsplash options with a guy who smelled like sawdust and weed. He said quartz is better for resale, she told me, as if that was the critical emergency here. And the bathroom, total gut job. I can't live like this anymore. Like this. As in, with her son dying upstairs? She turned to me suddenly, her voice bright and fake, like she was trying to get me to play along. "Oh, Marcus, maybe you can help. Does the insurance payout come before or after they take him off life support? Just trying to figure out my timeline." It took everything in me not to scream. But instead of reacting, I started documenting. Every word, every visit, Every twisted comment about tile colors and countertop grades while her son's heart was still beating with our machines doing all the work. Because something deep in my gut told me this wasn't just tasteless grief, it was something worse. That night, I stayed late. Tyler's uncle David came in around 11 p.m. He was a quiet man, worn flannel, calloused hands, the kind of guy you knew worked for a living. He sat by Tyler's bed for over an hour, just holding his nephew's hand in silence. When I brought him coffee, his eyes were glassy. "He's a good kid," David said. "Stupid brave sometimes, but good. His mom, she's been different since the divorce. Everything's about her now." I hesitated. Then I asked the question that had been eating at me. "Does she need money that bad?" He sighed and rubbed his temples. "She spent through the alimony like it was monopoly money. Designer bags, spa weekends, Botox, you name it. Now she's got debt collectors calling and no job. That kitchen remodel, she's banking on the life insurance payout." I felt my stomach twist. Tyler wasn't even buried, and she was flipping through catalogs like this was a Home Depot fantasy draft. The next morning, Jenna showed up in full glam, heels, red lips, and a fresh blowout. She brought her lawyer, yes, her lawyer. And while I prepped for rounds, I overheard her ask, "If we push to terminate today, how soon can we file the claim?" I nearly dropped the tablet in my hand. This wasn't a grieving mother. This was a woman liquidating an asset. I knew I couldn't stop the legal process. Once brain death was confirmed, and if the donor team proceeded, it was out of our hands. But I could make sure everyone saw what I saw. That this woman wasn't planning a funeral. She was remodeling her damn sink with her son's death money. So I made a choice. One I knew might cost me. I slipped a flash drive into the nurse's station computer and downloaded every visitor log, every camera timestamp, every note I had logged into our system documenting Jenna's behavior. I wasn't going to leak it. Not yet. But if she ever tried to spin the story, if she ever dared to present herself as the broken-hearted mom, I'd show the world exactly how cold her heart really was. And I wasn't done yet. Because if she wanted to talk about drainage, I was about to flood her world with the kind she'd never recover from. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the break room, lights off, playing every conversation over in my head. Every word Jenna said, every look, every absence of grief. I thought about Tyler, 19 years old, a skateboard kid who wore mismatched socks and gave blood once a month because it seemed like the right thing to do. He volunteered at the animal shelter down the street. The nurses loved him. The techs cried when he came in. And now his mother was negotiating his death like she was haggling over flooring at Lowe's. The next day was the confirmation. Neurology had done the scans. No activity, no hope. We had a family meeting scheduled, standard practice, social work, palliative care, the attending, and me. Jenna showed up late, sunglasses on, Starbucks in hand. She didn't sit. She stood in the doorway like it was a business presentation. When the doctor gently explained that Tyler was officially brain dead, that nothing could reverse it, Jenna nodded and sipped her coffee like she already knew. "So," she said, tapping her nails on the desk, "we done here?" Everyone went silent. The social worker leaned forward. "This is an incredibly difficult time. We just want to ensure you understand what this means and what comes next." Yeah, I get it. Dead. You can unplug him now, right?" I felt my jaw tighten. I watched as David, Tyler's uncle, buried his face in his hands. The attending cleared his throat. "Jenna, if you're willing, Tyler signed up as an organ donor. We'd like to proceed." "Fine. Whatever gets us there faster. Do I sign something?" Like it was a goddamn FedEx delivery. But then, she pulled out her phone. "Oh, and if we can wrap this up today, that'd be best. I've got a contractor meeting at 3, and he says the tile guy only works Tuesdays." That's when I saw red. I stood up. "You know what drainage is, Jenna?" I said, loud enough to make the attending's eyes widen. "It's the slow leak of everything good. Respect, love, decency, until all that's left is rot." She blinked, confused. "Excuse me?" "Number. You don't get to act confused. Your son is dying, and all you've done is calculate how to turn his body into your next kitchen. You're not a mother. You're a demolition crew." The room froze. David looked at me like he wanted to hug me and cry at the same time. The social worker opened her mouth, then shut it again. Jenna's face twisted. Not sadness, not shame. Fury. Embarrassed fury. "Who the hell do you think you are?" she spat. "You're a nurse, you change bedpans. Don't talk to me like you know anything." I took a step closer. Calm. Cold. I know Tyler deserved better than to be reduced to a payout. I know when your son coded, you asked if you'd get the full policy even if he was brain dead. I know because I was there. She lunged toward me then, clumsy, screaming. You piece of shit, how dare you? Security had to pull her off. Her coffee hit the floor. Her sunglasses snapped under her heel. Her mask, composure, poise, whatever fake image she'd been holding, shattered in front of everyone. And as they dragged her out of the family room, wailing about lawsuits and how I'd ruined everything, I just stood there, not angry, not scared, just hollow. Because Tyler was gone. But her humanity had died a long time before that. It's strange the way quiet can feel louder than screams. The next 2 days were a haze of forms, ventilator weaning protocols, and whispered condolences. We coordinated with the donor team. Tyler's organs went to 4 different people. His heart went to a 12-year-old girl in St. Paul. His liver saved a man who'd been on the transplant list for 3 years. His kidneys helped 2 women start over. He died a hero, even if his mother never earned the right to speak his name again. Jenna didn't attend the withdrawal of care. She didn't stand beside her son as his heartbeat slowed. She didn't hold his hand. She didn't whisper goodbye. She didn't cry. But I did. David was there too. He held my arm while I placed the final call to time of death. We cried together, 2 men bonded by disbelief and grief and absolute fury. I told him everything. What Jenna had said, what she'd asked, what she was planning. And David? He didn't just get angry. He got motivated. 2 days later, Jenna posted a photo on Facebook. I'd been bracing for it, expected a filtered picture of Tyler and a caption about angels or loss or how he'll always be watching over us. But no, it was a picture of a granite countertop. Sometimes new beginnings come from unexpected places. Yasha kitchen goals, blessed healing through design. Underneath, a comment from Mitch the contractor. Can't wait to finish that backsplash, babe. I swear to God my vision blurred with rage. So I messaged David. She's cashing in, he replied. Time to plug the leak. And that's when we planned it. Not sabotage, not revenge in the way people think. No criminality, no violence, just exposure. David had legal custody of Tyler's remains. As it turned out, Tyler had signed a clause with his organ donor registration that granted permission for his story to be shared for awareness, publicly, in campaigns, anonymously or otherwise. Normally we leave those choices to the family. But this time, the right family made the choice. David contacted the Regional Transplant Foundation, told them Tyler's story, all of it. The donations, the heroism, the tragedy, and the mother who treated her son's death like a shopping spree. They were horrified. A week later, the foundation launched a campaign. Honor, not profit. A video montage went live featuring Tyler's face, his story, his impact, his heart literally beating in a little girl's chest. No names were named, but Jenna knew. Because people started commenting on her Instagram, asking why she hadn't attended her son's funeral, asking if the GoFundMe she launched for memorial expenses was really going toward her kitchen remodel. Oh yeah, she started a GoFundMe, titled, Help Me Heal After My Son's Death, raised $22,000 in 4 days. After the video went viral, it got shut down, reported, frozen. And that's when the DMS started leaking. One of her ex-friends sent me screenshots. Jenna, crying over text, begging people to believe she had grieved, just in her own way, asking why everyone was turning on her, screaming, virtually, about how she deserved something after losing her only child. David screenshotted it all and sent it delicately to her HOA. Turns out Jenna had used part of her payout to install an unapproved backyard spa. You know what that violates? Her contract. The fine? $9,400. Her payout? Almost gone. Her new sink? Still sitting in a box in her garage. And just like that, drainage. Not from a pipe, from her carefully constructed world. One slow leak at a time. Update 1. All right, wow. I didn't expect this to blow up. First, thank you, truly. I read every comment, every single one. Some of y'all made me laugh when I didn't think I had that left in me. One person said, she doesn't want a sink, she wants a soul transplant. Another asked if I could donate a spine to her since hers apparently never formed. I needed that. Because part of me still felt twisted up, like maybe I'd gone too far. Maybe publicly exposing her like that made me know better. But then I got a DM from the mom of the girl who got Tyler's heart. She wrote, My daughter is alive because your friend's nephew lived well. We honor him every single day. We didn't know what his family was like. Now we know who his real family is. Thank you. I cried in the parking lot of a Wendy's reading that. So for the folks asking what happened next, Jenna doubled down. Of course she did. People like her always think they can outspin the truth. She started posting passive-aggressive quotes. Grief is personal. Don't judge what you don't understand. And trying to turn the backlash into some weird empowerment arc. Then she came to the hospital. I was working a night shift. She marched into the lobby wearing sunglasses like she was avoiding paparazzi and asked to speak with the nurse who slandered her family. Security got called before I even knew she was there. She screamed in the lobby, called me a vulture, said I fed off tragedy, said David poisoned her reputation and that she was the victim of emotional abuse from small-minded men who couldn't handle a powerful woman grieving outside the box. No one was buying it. The receptionist? She turned her chair away. The security guard? Chuckled. I stood down the hall and watched her tantrum from behind the glass. And I realized something. She wasn't scary anymore. She was pathetic. Small. Drowning in a pool of her own rot and still blaming the rain. And before she left, she screamed one last thing that still rings in my ears. You ruined everything. No, Jenna. You did. All I did was hold up a mirror. And now she's seeing the cracks. The final straw came in the form of a message. Not from Jenna. Not from David. From a donor recipient. I'd been home for once, trying to sleep. My phone buzzed around 2 a.m., and for some reason I checked it. The message started like this. Hey, I think I got your patient's corneas. I can see again. I saw my son's face clearly for the first time in 2 years this morning. Just wanted you to know his gift reached me. And just like that, I was crying again. Because Tyler didn't get a funeral. He didn't get a goodbye from the woman who birthed him. But he did give sight to someone else. His last act, one she never acknowledged, was saving lives. And yet Jenna still had the audacity to walk around like she was owed something. So I opened the drain. I called David. I'm ready. We reached out to the local news. I'd been hesitant, but with all the social media fallout, people were hungry to know the real story. We didn't use Jenna's full name. We didn't need to. The piece was titled, From Skateboard to Savior, One Teen's Gift and the Mother Who Tried to Monetize It. We told the story plainly. How a young man's death gave life to 5 others. How a nurse and an uncle stepped in when grief turned into greed. How some families cry over loss. Others calculate square footage. The station aired it during the 6 p.m. segment. Jenna's neighborhood watched it live. Apparently, someone even projected it onto their garage door during a community BBQ. That same night, she tried to throw a housewarming party. Only 2 people showed up, her contractor, who wanted final payment, and a guy from the HOA holding a fine. She slammed the door on both of them. Then, the icing. David found Tyler's old camcorder. It had been buried in a box of school projects. Inside, a 45-second video Tyler made for a scholarship application. He said, I don't care if I make a lot of money. I just want to build skate parks for kids who don't have anywhere safe to go. I think people get distracted by stuff. Houses, clothes, dumb arguments. I think when I die, I just want people to say I made something better. David uploaded it. No caption, no hashtags. It spread like wildfire. People recognized his name. They remembered the transplant story. And suddenly that clip became a banner, a eulogy, a middle finger to selfishness dressed in designer clothes. The comments were brutal. His mom tried to sell his memory for granite countertops. She doesn't deserve a sink. She deserves silence. Tyler gave eyes. She just wanted blinds. And the best one? When a drain gets clogged with greed, sometimes you gotta snake it with the truth. I laughed so hard I nearly choked. Jenna deactivated everything that night. Her Instagram, her Facebook, even her GoFundMe was gone for good. And me? I finally slept. Deep. Dreamless. Because for the first time since that ICU beeped Tyler's last rhythm, I felt peace. Update 2. So, I wasn't going to post again. But then Reddit did what Reddit does. Y'all dug. Found her Pinterest board full of renovation dreams. Found the Yelp reviews for Mitch's contractor company. They're brutal now. One person said, Warning. May install emotional damage along with tile. Someone even claimed Jenna tried to pivot into grief coaching. I can't verify that one, but if she did, May God have mercy on anyone who books that session. Anyway, I'm back because I want to answer the question that kept showing up in the comments and DMs. Do you regret any of it? Short answer, number long answer. I regret that a boy with a future became a footnote in his own life story because his mother saw dollar signs where there should have been memories. I regret that we live in a world where people like Jenna can coast on charisma while gutting everyone around them dry. But what I don't regret, shining a light so bright that she couldn't hide anymore. Because guess what? David told me last week, Jenna tried to take legal action, claimed emotional distress, defamation, harassment, hired a discount lawyer who probably advertises on the side of buses. The case didn't even make it past filing. The judge apparently looked at the campaign footage, the news story, the literal video of Tyler himself talking about who he wanted to be, and dismissed it without blinking. Jenna's lawyer dropped her 2 days later. The backsplash? Still in boxes. Her social circle, ghosted. Mitch the contractor, left a passive-aggressive review on her Google profile saying, "Wouldn't recommend, can't pay invoices or basic respect." Reddit, you made sure the leak turned into a flood. And Jenna? She's still mopping. And me? I've got a new patient. A girl, maybe 17, with a new heart. She doesn't know the name of the donor yet. Just knows it came from someone young, someone kind. Last week she asked me, "Do you think people remember who gave them a second chance?" I looked at her and said, "Yeah, the right ones do." Then I went home, opened a beer, sat in silence, and cried. Not out of grief, out of relief. Because Tyler didn't vanish. He got the last word. And that word was love. 6 months later, I found myself in a strange place, at a ribbon-cutting ceremony. David had done something extraordinary. Quietly, patiently, behind the scenes while the dust settled, he used the remainder of Tyler's donation memorial fund and matched it with his own savings to build a skate park. A small one tucked behind the high school Tyler graduated from. Concrete bowls, rails, ramps, clean, safe, free. At the entrance, a simple plaque. For Tyler, you made something better. I was invited to speak, but I didn't. I stood in the back, under the oak tree, watching kids in helmets do tricks, fall, laugh, get back up. One boy, maybe 10, wiped out hard, skinned his elbow. I jogged over, offered a Band-Aid. He sniffled, then asked, "Did the guy who made this place die?" I nodded. "He must have been awesome," the kid said. And I swear, in that moment, Tyler was there. Not in a grave, not in a kitchen remodel, not in a Pinterest board gathering dust. He was in scraped knees and second chances. Jenna? I don't know where she is now. Rumor has it she moved states, tried to change her name. But you can't change a truth that's been carved in concrete. The only sink that ever mattered? It's in that park. A drinking fountain, installed in Tyler's honor. Right next to the plaque, where water flows, cold and clean. And for once, it doesn't drain away into silence. It gives, just like he did. Always.